And we are live on Thursday, the first day of August in the year of our Lord 2024. Coming to you from beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. Wowzer, Bowser. I've got a few links to share to articles about Bladerunner. But first, let's give people a chance to file on in. I'm a little early today, but that's a good thing because my internet tends to go down in a couple hours. It is 7:29 a.m. Pacific time. Hi, at Sequentia, welcome in. Wow. Tora needs to say hi to her adoring fans. She doesn't sit on my lap, she walks on my lap and stands on my lap. I hate pokey paws. Yeah, here's your treat. I'm still in the process of going through everything I own. Welcome in, Jason. Good to see you here. Selling what I can, donating what I can't sell, as long as it's good enough for the thrift shop. Yeah, do cats dream of electric mice? I bet they do. Good morning, X. Welcome in. Yeah, it is a gorgeous day so far. A little cool, but nice. And overcast, so the summer sun is not beating down on my head. Anyway, I'm still surrounded by boxes of stuff, but it's different boxes of stuff as I organize and figure out what I can sell, donate, or throw away. Yesterday, I took 2 boxes of stuff to the thrift shop, the seniors' thrift shop, because they were not quite good enough for a consignment shop, and I'm not up to doing a yard sale. And besides, it benefits the senior citizens in our town. Our seniors club. Oh, welcome in, Angus. Hello, good morning. Our seniors club in this town provides luncheons, community luncheons. If you're under 55, you pay $3 whole for lunch. It's still awesome. If you're an actual senior, it's free. I think it's twice a week now. Yes, at Sequentia, getting rid of stuff in a responsible way has become a major issue. I agree. I'm finding good homes for Philip K. Dick memorabilia. Some will actually go for free because they belong in some sort of archives. So I found someone who's developing an archive. A lot of the music-related stuff has already gone to someone who's focused on the music that Phil loved. They non-tenured college professor or university professor, I guess. In other words, dog meat. I was a non-tenured university professor. It basically paid enough to keep the car to drive to work, but it was awesome work teaching people. No, Phil did not ride a bike or skateboard, Angus. He couldn't balance. He had a worse sense of balance than mine, and mine is not that great. Hi, Ditch. Welcome in. So, anyway, I've also sold a bunch of books, mostly $10 or $15 each, but some were very special. And eventually, I will sell a sketch by William Rotsler. Rotsler was known for his amazing cartoon sketches related to science fiction. Did Phil like video games? No, he for one thing, we didn't have video games. He died in 1982, and he considered board games and card games a waste of time. I have a different opinion. I think playing some games, at least, keeps my mind working. It staves off the inevitable decline in old age, and I am 70 years old. Hard to believe, but I am. I think around the time Phil died, there was a Pong game. You hooked up the game thing, like a box of electronics. You hooked it up to a television set. I remember playing Pong, and see, I'm old. I forgot the word. Tanks. It was, you could do it as one player, but it was more fun playing against my brother with tanks shooting at each other. Arcade games or home Atari? Yeah, I had an Atari. It played Pong and tanks and oh, I miss Space Invaders. I used to love playing Space Invaders. But no, Phil did not do games. It's a shame. I love a good game of pinochle, and I will play bridge because it's similar, but I keep forgetting how to bid in bridge. It's complicated. Death Valley Semiconductor. Welcome in. Yes, Combat. I never played that game. Didn't interest me. He didn't watch The Tonight Show. No Johnny Carson. He liked Saturday Night Live. And let's see, Carol Burnett, Bob Newhart. Didn't watch a whole lot of TV. I didn't watch soap operas, so the television was off for most of the day. We watched the news. Oh, and oh heck, I've forgotten the guy's name. The talk show where he interviewed Richard Nixon. Mike something. Oh dear. Oh, Rummy's a good game too. My high school friend Sandy Nelson had an aunt, I think a great aunt, Old lady who wiped us out in rummy every time, gin rummy. Let me see. I gotta Google who interviewed Richard Nixon. David Frost. It wasn't even Mike. David Frost. He watched a lot of, and the guy who was originally on the channel, the NBC News, and then got a talk show. I forgot his name, but I think he went up against the Tonight Show. Anyway, it was David Frost interviewed Nixon. They even mentioned that in an episode of Doctor Who. Yeah, before Ditch's time. He did watch a couple talk shows. He read Pynchon's Crying of Lot 49. As far as I know, that's the only one he read because it's the only one he talked about. Well, hi, Widow. Welcome in. There isn't much that's before my time because I studied film and TV production. Oh, he liked Vonnegut's, oh gosh, Slaughterhouse-Five, but he bought the Breakfast of Champions that Vonnegut wrote, and he threw it away. He said it was garbage. He tried to read it. A lot of people never heard of Bill Rotsler or William Rotsler. I think it's spelled with a Z, not an S, not sure. Well, Phil didn't like the book, and I didn't get to read it because he threw it out. Oh, Cat's Cradle, yes. Phil used to rave about Cat's Cradle. I forgot about that one. And he liked More Than Human, Theodore Sturgeon. Sturgeon was highly underrated and a really super talented author. He made me read Dune because he didn't have time to read such a long book. That's how I know where the movie failed. By the end of the novel, you realize that the messianic hero is really evil, as well as a drug addict. Yes, Stitch. More Than Human is a group of children who initially don't know each other but end up connected because each one has a special power. And when they work together, they can get good things done. I think it might have been a reaction to Lord of the Flies, in which a group of private school students are stranded on an island and they end up becoming vicious savages. It's supposedly based on a true story, but I don't believe it. Oh, Ditch actually read Dune and he thought he was the only one. I met Harry Harrison, the author of Soylent Green, which was his title was Make Room, Make Room. Met him briefly, but he was in a hurry. He had a speech to give at the Nebula Awards and he was running late. So I just said, go ahead. And I spent a few minutes with his wife, who is still getting dressed. Typical story. The wife is still putting on her makeup. Oh, I remember books from my childhood, but darned if I can come up with a title. Except for, of course, Peter Rabbit and Benjamin Bunny. Oh, Ditch meant more than human. He read that and thought he was the only one. Yeah, Frank Herbert was known for more than Soylent Green, but once a movie is made, that gets stamped on your forehead for everyone to see. I like the humor in Norman Spinrad's writing and, oh heck, not Terry Carr, his friend. I've forgotten the name again. And I met him once, briefly. Can't remember his name. I'm bad at names, always have been. Everyone knows Dune, but they saw the movie and did not read the book. No, I don't think I'd eat Soylent Green. No, thank you. I try to avoid GMO. It's hard to identify in the grocery store, but I do my best. Yeah, Phil, like me, was more a short story writer. He began writing novels because he couldn't make enough money with short stories. No, not William Sladek. This was one of the authors who was also an editor. Not all that well known. Not Sladek. I think his first name is Robert Silverberg. Von Silverberg. His writing is full of humor. And it isn't cheap humor. It's really good stuff. Well, Angus, I wouldn't write a 2,000-page novel, but I do have some short novels that barely qualify, but they're thick enough to bind as a paperback book. Yeah, science fiction was like the poor stepchild of literature. Yes, Angus Silverberg was famous, but I wasn't a science fiction fan. I kind of got dropped into it. And I know very little about current authors, the ones who are still alive. Absolutely, Angus. Underwriting is better than overwriting. Like Stephen King, his novels should be 200 pages, but he breaks all the rules. One novel, sorry, hiccups. One novel in particular begins with the guy shaving in the morning, and it isn't relevant to the story. And it goes on and on. It takes him an entire chapter just to get dressed and leave the house, or get dressed to leave the house. Yeah, Nightwings, Silverberg's Nightwings. I barely remember the title, but I know it was good. Yeah, King was better before his editors feared him. The movies are good. What's the Fog? That one really got to me. It's a movie where these pirates who have been dead for 100 years are taking revenge on the people who killed them in a small town on the east coast of the United States, I think in Maine. Oh, The Shining is relevant here. I came across an article that mentions The Shining. Oh, The Stand? I haven't actually seen that or read it, but it made me think of Stand By Me, which Stephen King at his best. No real horror, just a group of boys who go out walking down the railroad tracks because they want to see the dead body. Wow. Tora, I gave you treats. Leave me alone. Bad cat. Yeah, many authors are much better at shorter works because when they are faced with writing 200 pages or more, they panic. Just put in a bunch of filler. The problem with giving Tora a treat is that all the other cats horn in, especially Smokey Sue. Smokey moved in without asking. Now I completely understand why her humans left her behind when they moved away. If you aren't a cat person, you won't put up with this cat. It's like 95 degrees. I mean, it's hot, sweltering day, and she wants to cuddle. Okay, come here, Smokey. You have to say hi to everybody. She's a beautiful kitty. Has a nice purr box, but long, fluffy fur that's all over my house, of course. I'm constantly picking up cat hair. I'm on the fence. Should I go to the bathroom now or give you something to read? I almost pressed the wrong button. Article about how used The Shining. Why did Ridley Scott borrow footage from The Shining for Blade Runner? Campbell in Far Out Day. The battles Ridley Scott Runner to the screen are almost as legendary as the film itself, with the director forced to call up one of the most respected auteurs in the game for an assist that ultimately amounted to nothing in the long run. This guy is using big words for no good reason. I really believe in using basic English that everyone can understand. Even though he was hot off the back of Alien, the classic sci-fi horror that strapped the proverbial rocket to the back of his career, Scott was still nowhere near being in the position he is now, where he's given almost complete freedom to make his movie in any way he sees fit. Okay, I've got to, I call it recycle coffee. I gotta pee, okay? So I'll be back in a minute. Don't go anywhere. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum-de-dum. Smoky Sue. If you want anything, you have to get out of the way so I can walk across the room and down the kitty trail. What? You've had your treats 3 times so far. Did you eat your cat food? Oh, some kitty ate it. I'm back, sort of. What the hiss? Where are the cat treats? There they are. Here. Kitties. Okay. The Bladerunner is a dystopian epic. Where are you, Tora? I can't give you treats if I can't find your face. No point in putting them down by your tail. How many cats? Well, I have 2 cats that are absolutely pets. The other 3 are feral. But they eat here. So that's a total of 5, and that's plenty. And they're spayed and they will not make kittens. Oh, yeah. Kafka. Ditch mentions Kafka. Phil read everything he could get his hands on that Kafka wrote. Oh, yeah. I love the scene where Deckard finds the origami unicorn. There's one version of Bladerunner where it ends with that. It's the other cop who's, I forgot the actor's name again, who makes the origami, and apparently it was the actor's idea. Let's see. All right. The studio wanted a happy ending with Deckard and Rachel going off into the sunset for Blade Runner. That is the stupidest, by the way. Ed Sequentia says, I wonder what if they went with the original idea that Tyrell was actually another replicant and the real Tyrell was in a coma in the basement. That I could go with, but Deckard, at least for Philip K. Dick, is not a replicant. He is dehumanized by the work he does. And the replicants seem more human and humane than Deckard. Yeah, the entire film Blade Runner is simply not Philip K. Dick. He did like the cityscape. It was what Phil imagined Los Angeles would look like in the future. Oh, it doesn't now. It looks like I don't know what to call it. A dump? Worse than a dump. It's tragic and sad. Look out, Tora. Yeah, Blade Runner is a great movie, but it is not Philip K. Dick's vision. Anyway. Yeah, people complained, at least the studio did. Why is it always raining? Why is it so dark? We've got to have a happy ending. Don't Americans like happy endings? Well, actually, I've been disappointed by quite a few. Well, so Ridley Scott talks to, what's his name? Stanley Kubrick. Guy, I'm bad at names. And is allowed to use some footage from The Shining. You know, the things that probably were not in The Shining. There'd be copyright problems there. And when he included that in the previews, the audience did like it more. So he bought the footage from The Shining. The helicopter shot the road. Oops. I think that's the end of the article. And of course, the Shining footage was cut out of the director's cut when Ridley Scott was no longer under the thumb of Warner Brothers, demanding an uplifting ending that flew in the face of what he was trying to accomplish in the first place. Okay, that's enough of that article. And Phil really would not have liked the sappy, happy ending. In the novel, Rachel is not girlfriend material, not run off into sunset material. She's a manipulative, I'm trying not to use bad words. Oh, I think they could have ended Blade Runner with a miniature of a bunch of replicants in rocket ships swarming the Earth. That might have been good. But yeah, Blade Runner is a great movie, but don't kid yourself. It is not Philip K. Dick's vision. It's Ridley Scott's. Yeah, I love the opening of Androids. Do Androids dream of electric sheep? He can't pay his door to open because all his credit cards are maxed out. Oh, you like Deckard and using mood amplifiers to argue. Yeah. A Scanner Darkly, I like the novel. I worked on it with him, so I have to like it. The movie I like. It's faithful to the book except the ending. Phil's point was not that drugs are bad, but that the war on drugs was bad. Oh, it was Ubik where he couldn't pay his door. Sorry, wrong novel. Deckard, yeah, he's a mood amplifiers. And of course, Blade Runner cut out the religious content with what's his name climbing up the hill while people pelt him with sticks and rocks. Kipple, yeah. My house is filled with kipple. But I'm working on it. Well, Jim Briskin. I'm trying to remember who Jim Briskin was. Don't remember. Is he the one who was surrounded by kipple and explaining what kipple is? Oh, the news clown who ran for president. All right, Angus. It must be in a novel I didn't read. Believe it or not, I have not read all of Phil's work. I know people who claim they have, but man, I don't have that kind of time. And I don't have all his work. A Crack in Space? Oh, I did read that, but it's been 50 years since I read it, so that's why I don't remember. You know, it was Terry Carr who wrote that title. Phil called it Cantata 140. Bach's cantata that's Wachet auf, Wake Up. I think Phil's title was a better one, or he could have called it Wake Up. But A Crack in Space refers to the satellite, which is a house of prostitution. That I remember. Oh, no one has read the entire exegesis. It's like 10,000 pages, but Yeah, I've looked at the book of the exegesis. I'm trying to go through it and write about it. Oh, Dr. Blood Money. I once considered writing a sequel to Dr. Blood Money called Son of Wrath, but I shelved it. Yeah, the published exegesis is mind-blowing. Let's see, what else have I got? From E.T. to Blade Runner, how the summer of 1982 changed cinema forever. Also published today. On NPR Public Radio. You can listen to it. And there's a transcript. I guess I'll give you the They walked from Bakersfield to Betelgeuse. Ah, Poltergeist. What was that movie? I think it took place in a funeral home, and there were these steel balls that flew around in the hallways, and the steel balls had like razors sticking out of them. Phantasm, yeah. I met the guy who played the. I think it was either pizza delivery or an ice cream man. I keep blanking on that, but I know the guy who played that part. Yeah, Reggie Bannister. He's local here in the mountains. And he likes to dress up like a vampire, along with his wife, who is also an actor and independent filmmaker. No, Southern California, San Bernardino Mountains, Death Valley Semiconductor. Well, you know, they're old. It happens to the best of us. We get old. Very talented people. And they participate in local events for free. Okay, let's get to this article. Blah, 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 blah. Let's scroll through the blah, blah, blah and get to the heart of it. Okay, who's Mosley? Or is it Mosley or Mosley? They aren't giving a. Oh, he's the host. Okay. E.T. the Extraterrestrial is a classic, of course, and was a huge hit when it was released the weekend of July 4th in 1982, making it at the time the biggest box office hit in Hollywood history. Then he mentions Tron, The Thing, Star Trek Wrath of Khan, and Mad Max, The Road Warrior. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's all I want to do with this. But basically, you see mostly E.T., but also all those other movies kind of pushed Blade Runner. So Blade Runner was a box office flop. Okay, that's all I've got today in the way of articles, but we've discussed Blade Runner. Oh, Angus saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, I assume, 3 times when it came out in 81. I saw it, and I rarely see a movie in the theater. Costs money to see a movie in the theater, but I'm pretty sure I saw that one in the theater. I did watch cheap matinees, Saturday afternoon matinees of The Fugitive 12 times. Mostly so I could sit in an air-conditioned room and eat popcorn and drink soda. But I really was fascinated with the role of Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. I didn't like him in The Eyes of Laura Mars. Didn't really like that movie. It was creepy. Yeah, Blade Runner definitely qualifies as noir, even though it's in color. But I think the classic and best ever noir film in color, because it's supposed to be black and white, but people go, I don't want to see it, it isn't in color. Well, the best classic, and probably for all time, is Chinatown. And it kind of, for me in particular, it strikes home because it reveals so much about the water wars of Los Angeles in its early history, where Mulholland kind of cheated everybody to provide enough water for Los Angeles. He was a dirty SOB. There's a movie I have to see. I haven't seen it yet, and it's probably old now, but its title is Mulholland Drive, set in Los Angeles. I have Chinatown on videotape, and I still have a working VCR. Oh yeah, noir can be done in color, but most filmmakers are not able to do it properly. It takes a real artist. The director and the cameraman have to work together, and the set has to be just right. Oh dear, Ditch remembers Chinatown being black and white. And Angus says that's a Lynch film, David Lynch. Who directed Chinatown? I don't remember. Let's see. Roman Polanski, of course. How could I forget? And of course, thank you, at Sequentia. You were quicker than Google. Of course, he had that scandal and actually was criminally charged for having an underage girlfriend. But he is or was, I forget whether he's alive. I think he is. An amazing director. Wow. Oh, Mulholland Drive had Rammstein in the soundtrack? Oh, yeah. They're an awesome, I don't know what to call them, maybe an orchestra, but I think they've faded into the halls of history. Well, Witta, you're thinking of Sunset Drive, where the lady says, "I'm ready for close-up, Mr. DeMille." No, it wasn't colorized. It was shot in color. You're thinking of Sunset Drive. That was black and white. It was remade in color. Sunset Boulevard. Thank you, Jonah, and welcome in. I'm bad at names and titles. Sunset Boulevard. Yeah. It was remade in color, but basically it's sort of a murder mystery, but more of a psychological study of an aging actress. Sunset Boulevard. I think it had Fred McMurray. I've forgotten, the actress was awesome, and I've forgotten her name. Oh, Gloria Swanson. Oh, Fred McMurray was in the color remake. In the original, it was William Holden and Eric von Stroheim. Jack Webb was in it. Buster Keaton. Ooh, Buster Keaton was awesome. He did comedy, but it was very acrobatic. And in one, I think it was Buster Keaton. He's on the roof of a building and there's a big old clock. Well, the clock was a movie set, but I've been in that building as a child. It's in Culver City, and my dad worked in an office in that building. And at one point, it was the local headquarters for the Barry Goldwater presidential campaign in '64. There's a Deadpool noir comic? Strange. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine is awfully expensive to go see. No, I don't think that was the hotel. It could have been. I think the hotel was next to that building. Anyway, it must have been the tallest building in Culver City. Our tallest building in the 60s was 3 stories. I'll wait for Deadpool and Wolverine to come down in price. I do want to see it, but I'm not made of money. Yeah, well, there were 2 buildings on that Flatiron Wedge. I guess maybe the one that Buster Keaton used was the hotel, and the one next to it was the office building. It was where Washington Boulevard and Culver Boulevard split. They run parallel, or they did anyway in the 60s. God knows what they've done to it now. They've switched Jefferson and Sepulveda by just changing the signs. They wanted me to get lost going back to my hometown. Anyway, Jefferson Boulevard and Culver Boulevard split, and there's this triangular island between them, and that's where these 2 buildings are or were. I hope they're still there. They're historical and awesome. But one was 2 stories and one was 3 stories. And actually, the Helms Bakery was just as high as 3 stories, but it was a bakery and not a, it was all one floor. It was just huge. The kind that would have those steel stairways to get up to the top of the machinery if you needed to. I've never seen Deadpool, but of course I've seen Wolverine. Oh, Culver City, yes, it is confusing. Originally, we had a house. When I was born, my parents had this little house in what we called Studio Village, not Studio City, just a little neighborhood near the high school and Farragut Elementary and Lindbergh Park. They bought it for $10,000 and had to borrow the down payment from Granny. It was at 5008 Westwood. It is now over $500,000 if you want to buy it. Then when Dad broke his back, we moved into a rental house that my grandfather owned. It was at 4080 Lafayette Place at the corner of Lafayette and Braddock. It was a 3-bedroom house that was designed so that 1 bedroom could actually be rented off and kept separate from the rest of the house. It had its own entrance, plus 2 bachelor pads, or what you might call a studio apartment. They actually had Murphy beds that fold up into the wall and then fold down when you want to use them. It is now almost the last time it sold during COVID, it brought almost just short of $2 million. Oh, yes, Angus, Centinela, Jefferson, and Sepulveda all cross each other. There's a spot in San Bernardino where people get lost trying to find the Inland Empire Mall, great big shopping mall, but between the freeway and the streets, you just get totally lost. Oh, Angus has a friend living. I guess Farragut is a street. We were on the back side of the elementary school. near Ocean and Overland. Oh, I used to go to Lindbergh Park every chance I got. Well, we were there in the 1960s, actually 1950s. I was born in 54. I think they bought the house in 53. And then, let's see, in 62, we moved because Dad had broken his back in a toboggan accident. It might have been 63. It was at the end of the year. Yeah, 63, but like January or February. That's a good one, Sequentia. We used to live in California, but then we moved to the United States. Well, I'm California born and raised, and what's left of my family is still here. I do have a cousin in Wisconsin. We aren't close, even though I do admire him and his wife. She's a professor, I think she's department head at the University of Wisconsin, Madison. I probably butchered the name of the university, but whatever. And he's an entrepreneur who did computer coding. Yeah, Culver City is walkable. I've spent hours playing in the Baldwin Hills, especially when my brothers were in Little League. My dad and a local professional baseball guy, whose name I keep forgetting, arranged to have the Little League fields built on top of one of the hills after they were no longer able to use the property they had been using because the city sold it. Yeah, Ditch, let's see your California passport. I don't believe you. You seem American. Yeah, that's funny. Oh well, Bladerunner. I have a DVD of it somewhere. I think it's the director's cut, but I can't swear to it. I have not gone Blu-ray. I don't want to go Blu-ray. I'm sick and tired of these tech companies selling you a new phone because it's a different color. Look at all the colors you can get. And replacing a perfectly good DVD with Blu-ray, which is pretty much useless unless you have a huge, expensive setup for watching movies at home. You know, like its own room with a huge screen and all. Don't get Ditch started with tech bros. Never mind that Apple iPhones are made with child labor. In China, you can get a pink one or a blue one or a red one or a purple one. I'll stick with Android because I know how to use an Android. And even those are getting ridiculously expensive. My first flip phone was like $20. Then I stepped up to a real cell phone and it was $30. Now they're like 3,000? You gotta be kidding me. If they really want to sell phones to everybody, they should make them free. Oh, wait. If you're on food stamps or some other government program, you can have a free phone with unlimited data, but they're crap. Oh, if you walked into our country without asking, you can have a free phone. They hand it to you at the border. Yeah, the chip in your head. That's why I wrote The Darkening of the Light. It's about a chip in your head. Oh, Witta says the free phones don't work. Yeah, that figures. It's just there to track you, not to actually let you call anyone. Yeah, Ditch, I kind of remember one of your artists joining the chat last week. Oh no, the FCC will take your complaint and tell the company about it. And as long as they send you an email explaining why they get to screw you over, they're in the clear. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cigarettes left. I have to go to the smoke shop today. I walk into the smoke shop to buy cigarettes, and there's all these weird things for vaping, and then there's gummies, and there's horrendously expensive gadgets for various purposes. Hey boy. And kratom. It's all the rage. Kratom doesn't work for me. Does nothing for my back pain. Just makes me feel kind of sick. Oh, if you pay $500, you can file a formal FCC complaint within 6 months of the date of response to your informal complaint. Gummies with various legal components of marijuana. Oh, and these little, they're like slips of paper soaked with mint. So if you want a menthol cigarette, you can make one out of a regular cigarette, because menthol cigarettes are illegal in California. They can't sell them here. You can make an informal complaint to the FCC for free, but nothing happens. Yeah, it's a Kafka story. Definitely. Like the trial in which the guy never finds out what he's charged with. That's it. With a normal complaint, an informal complaint is free because they are free to completely ignore it. Well, anyway. I got Verizon to fix a problem once. I called them and said I'm switching to T-Mobile, and they fixed the problem. Move, Tora. You can't have my coffee, it's mine. Well, it really is bad for cats, coffee. They try to tell me it's bad for humans, but I don't care. I don't like cat hair in my coffee, Tora. And I gave you treats and canned food and kibble and everything. Yeah, quit bothering me. Oh well. Chewy is delivering, is it? No, it's Amazon is delivering cat treats today. I tried Chewy, but when I compared prices, Chewy charges so much for shipping that I get a better price on Amazon Prime, which is like $7 or $8 a month. And since I get so many things delivered, it pays off with the free shipping. Even though I'm quite aware that the prices are increased to make up for the free shipping, I still come out paying less for my cat supplies on Amazon. And I know they're evil, but I suspect that Chewy is not squeaky clean either. Oh, Angus, soda pop. Mom was really against soda pop, but if I was home from school because I was sick, like the measles or something, I could have a soda pop, just one. I still remember my older brother Rick. When Mom was working, he'd walk me to the babysitter. He was older, and he'd stop and at the machine at the gas station that sold soda pop, and he'd get a Coca-Cola, and he always said, "Don't tell Mom." So after school, I went to this horrible babysitter. I don't remember what all she did, but she was awful to her own kids and me. Mom didn't believe me, but finally Rick, my older brother, told her what was going on, and I didn't have to go there anymore. Mom was also totally against Kool-Aid because it's full of sugar. Back then, you had to add sugar. It was like 3 cups of sugar in 2 quarts of water, and then sprinkle in the packet of Kool-Aid. Well, I finally got to Kool-Aid at a friend's birthday party, and I didn't like it. So that was no great loss. Oh, I just flashed on something. What was it? I had a great idea and it's gone. Canfield's chocolate. Never had that. Oh, I can still get RC Cola. You have to look for it, but it is in the stores. It's usually the single bottles that are in the cooler so you can drink it right away. Royal Crown. That's what RC stands for. But I can get Cadbury chocolate, but the American chocolate is not the same as what you get in England. I think they add wax to our chocolate. They add something that makes it less soft. Uh, could be cornstarch. Hershey bars, at least when I was growing up, always had some wax in them so they wouldn't melt too fast. It won't hurt you. It has no nutrition in it. Well, Mom started leaving me with an elderly couple down the couple doors down from our house, and they were very nice. Alice Hutchinson and her husband Vic. Great people. And really liked them. Yeah. I had a friend who was Mormon, and she had a canister of Postum on display. It's a basically roasted grain coffee substitute. But she did drink coffee. She just had that out in case a Mormon showed up at her house. They'd see, oh, Postum, she's good. RC is better, and I can still get it. It does exist. I don't like Kool-Aid. Just don't. And I avoid artificial sweeteners as if my life depends on it, because I think it does. Oh, Tab. Tab was a diet soda. I think it had artificial sweeteners. Yeah, it was bland. Oh, poor Ditch. He was obsessed with OK soda, but it was a failed product. There is a way to recreate it? Yeah, a tab was supposed to help you lose weight. I got news for you. Most artificial sweeteners make you fatter. I suppose you might need them if you're diabetic, but talk to your doctor. But they actually make you feel more hungry. Cute, Ditch. Mormons don't recognize each other in the liquor store. Well, in Utah, I don't know if it's everywhere in Utah, but they'll have a government liquor store, the only place where you can buy anything alcoholic. And I think there's like rationing, like you can only get so much, and they take your ID and stuff. So a lot of people drive into a neighboring state to buy liquor. Oh, Ditch finally remembered he has a wrench. And he gave us a link to the Wikipedia about OK Soda. All right. Yeah, Wita tap water sucks. I don't buy it in bottles. I have a filter pitcher. But our water here in the mountains is not that bad. I use it to make coffee or the electrolytes, the powdered electrolytes. I just put them in tap water. For one thing, it is not fluoridated. It costs money to buy the waste from aluminum slag to fluoridate your water. Instead of forcing Reynolds and Alcoa to clean up their toxic waste, they let them sell it to water companies. Well, it does list fluoride as a contaminant from the mineral rocks underground, but it's a tiny amount, and it is not that crap that they add. Birthday, I got to go to our local Chinese restaurant, Mandarin Garden, for lunch, half the price of a dinner. And I went with a local newspaper reporter who has written articles about that restaurant, so we got extra good service and a free dessert. They were so awesome. And the check was about what I would have spent at the local Greasy Spoon. For those who don't know, that's in New York in particular, when a restaurant is, let's say, not the best, but they passed the health inspection, it's a Greasy Spoon. It's called Mandarin Garden, and it's tucked into a little community called Agua Fria, cold water in Spanish, right next to Blue Jay on the way there from here. And they have the most awesome food. They make their own sauces. They don't buy them in jars. And they're, oh man, their food is good. I got mushu chicken, which at another place that has since closed down was just some chicken wrapped in a tortilla, little tiny things. Pick it up with the thumb and one finger, dipped in plum sauce. Well, yeah, there was plum sauce, but they were huge. They were the size of they were bigger than a burrito. And there were 4 of them. Well, actually, our order would have been for 2, but they gave us 4 because my friend was like a VIP there. They gave us 2 pork and 2 chicken. Oh, Lord, they were awesome. For $15, and even just 2 of them would have been enough for 2 people. And they gave us 4 because Rhea is special. I remember 7-Up. I liked it until Sprite came along. Sprite has more citrus in it, and I think it has more bubbles. I usually, when I have a soda, I let the bubbles go away for a few minutes so I get the liquid and the flavor and not just tingly bubbles on my first swallow. No, Angus, they were not empanadas. The Chinese tortilla is very thin. It's thinner than crepe. I almost called it crepe. Crepe is the paper you hang at a party. French pancakes are crepes. And these tortillas are thinner than that at the Chinese restaurant. And they were stuffed with like chicken and mung beans and all kinds of flavors. Oh, wow. They were good and filling. Anyway, they're called mushu. 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 I'm not sure whether I've had empanadas. I have had carnitas. Love carnitas. But I don't put hot sauce on them. I'm a gringa. I was going to get something on an impulse when I was shopping for cat food. I picked something up off the shelf at the grocery store. Orange Fanta. When I was a kid, we had Nesbit, but this is Fanta. It's not a screw cap, and when I got the church key and pried off the cap, it went flying. I can't find it. But even though it's flat now, it's good and cold. Yeah, Stitch is entertaining us in the chat. Great jokes. Yeah, I almost never eat out. That's one reason why I'm learning to cook. My apron that says Kitchen Challenged Cook will arrive next week, if all goes well. My hands are too dry. I gotta put paw grease, hand lotion on them. And I have to remember to buy some. Come on, chair, quit tripping me. I would love to have a logo, Ditch. It probably should have me with a spatula, a woman's face with a spatula right against her forehead. When I make a mistake, I go, oh. Thumbnail logo for the Kitchen Challenged Cook. Excellent. Well, it's just a thought, Ditch. If you already have something in mind, I'd love to see it and use it. As long as it isn't pornographic. When my son became curious about pornography and his father was no longer around, I had to sit and watch porn and see how he reacted. 5 minutes in, oh, Mom, this is boring. Yeah, I agree. So we turned it off and he went out to play. But, At least his dad was around to teach him how to pee standing up. I, I couldn't do that either. And at his preschool that he went to when I had a job at Puff and Taco, uh, they were all women. Yeah, I really, it was Playboy Channel crap that he watched. And just 5 minutes in, not for me. And I agreed. And now some of the PG movies are more racy than what the Playboy Channel had. At least they try to tell a story. Vonnegut, according to Witta, wrote about people who couldn't get real food and would watch others pretend to eat fake food on TV. Yeah. Well, I keep seeing all these ads, mostly on YouTube, some on Facebook. The end of the world is coming. You have to buy our electrical generator. Well, what's the point of having internet if everybody else's internet is down? Who are you going to talk to? Or buy our emergency food. We'll send you an extra sample pack for free when you buy $200 worth. It lasts for 20 years. And I'm like, so does a can of Campbell's soup. Yeah, if you really gotta have sex, do what my son did. Get married. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, if we go with all electric cars, nobody will have electricity and nobody's car will run because our electrical grid can't handle the load. It's ridiculous. If you want to go all electric, first you have to have the power generators and the transmission lines. Otherwise, your electric things won't work at all. And just for emergencies, I have candles. Did you know if you put the little tea lights in a muffin tin, you can put a pot on top of the muffin tin? Just make sure you leave air getting in so the candles will have air to burn, and it'll heat up a pot of water or a pot of soup, or it'll even fry an egg. Well, there was an EMP that affected Canada and New York and some other states. Not that long ago. It was followed, as usual, by a baby boom. There was nothing else to do. But they were out of power, some people, for a week. Not everyone, but some people. And of course, it was during a heat wave. It's always either a heat wave or incredible cold and snow when the power goes out because, hey, people are using electricity. Oh no, if it says, imagine if Samsung made cars. Does Samsung, I haven't seen their products in ages. I wouldn't buy one if I did. Even though they had a cool TV ad. Or no, if Nokia made cars, they'd be indestructible. I don't know. But one of the things about electric and hybrid cars that really scares me is in a crash, they tend to explode and burn. And you might not be able to get out fast enough. Tora, quit. That's my coffee. Mine. No. Go on, get off my desk. Oh, you're really pestering me today. Why? You usually go out and play. Is there a big bad monster out there? Here, sweetie. And 3C and Smokey and Tora. Where's Tutu? Oh, I got 4 out of 5. And there's a stray tomcat that keeps trying to sneak into my house to eat the cat food. I don't always catch him. But I'm beginning to feel sorry for him. He's getting old and slow. And he isn't going to pop out kittens. He's a male. Oh, well, I think I'm about done here. And I do have to wangle a ride to the smoke shop. Oh, come on, you evil phone. I try to close something and it pops all these notifications on top of the button for closing it. Will you stop, evil phone? Anyway, yeah, it's time for lunch at Ditch's house. It's time for breakfast here. I don't generally eat breakfast, but I have this big box of Raisin Bran and a full carton of milk. So thank you all for coming in for a chat and have a great day. Come on, typos. Here we go. I really enjoyed the conversation. Bye, everyone. See ya.